Meeting is now recorded, and I will, I'm letting Lynn into the meeting now as well. So,
Right. And I assume Robin Kenny is the,
Bolton Access TV.
so why don't we deal with Lynn first? We'll treat her as an appointment.
Well, she's not really, it's not really an appointment because it's not on the agenda, so it's gonna just fall under the coronavirus updates and our the Board of Health reminder to everybody.
That's fine, and that's
So-
our order of business, so we can kind of knock that out first.
Yep.
Assuming that she's logging on specifically about the public garden.
She was, yes, like I said, her and I spoke, and I did not get the specific public garden onto the agenda, so it will be moved to the next agenda as a specific topic, but for today, it will be covered under coronavirus update, which is reminding
Okay.
everybody.
Well, then, should we just roll into
We
Corona?
should, yep, we'll call to order, and then we'll roll to the first topic.
And you guys
Okay.
got her email, right, that I forwarded?
I got,
I did.
Yeah, okay.
And so I guess the question is, I mean, so what do we have? I mean, aside from what we've been sharing with each email, what do we have for updates, you know, other than Jim Gareffi's last announcement?
from my standpoint, we have Jim Garaffi's last email, which put Bolton at 8 positive cases of COVID-19. And today, and that's really all we have as far as new and updated information. Everything comes from Jim Garaffi and Neshoba Associated Boards of Health. I've received some phone calls to the office, people looking to speak to Board of Health about it, and I do recommend they speak to that office, whether it be Jim or, you know, most people are calling for Tamara. So I have her and I send her, you know, they get along, but I really have not had a lot of phone calls about people, you know, asking a lot of questions. So, and I still am putting the daily update from the Department of Public Health, the MEMA update on the website daily. And then when Jim sends his emails on the weekends, that does go out through the Board of Health news and announcement, as well as town homepage news and announcement. So.
All right. So how do we want to incorporate the town garden into?
So I think we just need to, you know, like I said, the talking points with reminding everybody, you know, where the social safe distance guidelines.
Well, I think the question is, Lynn had sent, you know, a whole bunch of specific guidelines relative to the community garden, and she's looking for our feedback in terms of, is this acceptable, and do we have any comments or feedback on the guidelines? So if you want, I can make an attempt to share my screen here, or is Lynn going to talk to us about it?
Well, Lynn is in the meeting, and like I said, I spoke with her earlier because the email came in after the agenda was posted. I don't know if we can specifically speak to the community garden. It's not listed, but I've only been doing that. You know, you guys have to tell me if you're okay speaking specifically about it.
Well, I mean, here's what I'd say. These are extraordinary times. So I think if somebody has a concern or a question about something like that, then I'm not going to get too, I mean, I don't know how you gentlemen feel, but too amped up about protocols, assuming there is even one to worry about. I did read what Lynn sent very quickly. I thought it was comprehensive and logical. And I guess my only question is, you know, it may have been put out there already, is, you know, is it posted at the garden? And if so, then I'm not sure what else can we do?
Lynn, I'm going to go ahead.
Hi.
Hi, Lynn.
So what was the question? About Is it
Chris
hosted?
Rogers, the chair, the Board of Health chair, asked if your guidelines you sent to Scott Powell and to the Board of Health would also be posted within the
Oh.
community garden, either there at the site or I'm assuming on some email. you would be-
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, we could definitely post the guidelines there. I hadn't thought of that. That would be a good idea. And when we were talking earlier, also probably adding to the list is that in keeping with the governor's requirements for no more than 10 people at a gathering. We probably should add that to the list as well.
Mhm.
Although, I think we might have to play it by ear a little. As I said, if anybody doesn't feel comfortable, they shouldn't go to the garden. We aren't planning any community work days. We normally have days where everybody meets. We'll definitely not be doing anything like that. And maybe people amongst themselves may do some scheduling to figure out what works best for them. So yeah, that'd be great. I will definitely post those, and we have an email chain with all the gardeners that we would share all the information with as well.
Yeah, that sounds entirely reasonable. And I think that's the best we can expect under the circumstances. So yeah, if the garden could do that, have a posting at the gate or however you guys, I mean, I'm not familiar with it. That would be fantastic.
Okay, great. Definitely will do that.
And so the governor extended the stay-at-home. Is it I guess it's an order or a guideline, really, for stay-at-home except for non-essential activities, right?
Correct.
It's stay at home except for essential. So basically, if you meet the essential criteria, then you're allowed to be out and doing your thing.
Right. So does,
Each community seems to have some leeway in terms of their intent, their interpretation. So just from a construction perspective, we've got some jobs in Boston that are still open because they're allowing it, but the city of Newton kind of read it a different way and shut all unessential, unless you're working specifically for COVID-19, a task force, or you're adding housing stock, you're not working. So, yeah, so that's going to go as, things were, the 4th was the day that this was going to be lifted, but now it's been extended to the 18th.
yeah. So I guess my question is the garden, would we consider it essential, or are we suggesting that it not be open till the 18th?
As I spoke to Lynn earlier, I've had people ask me from, just talking with friends, could kids go down to the fields and play catch? If, we wanted to go down as a family, there's just the 4 of us. So, but we would know to use our own social, we wouldn't invite everybody. So the garden would need to follow those guidelines of no gatherings, no more than 10 people. So if,
right.
Lynn
Technically, our
they
parks
only have
aren't like
community-
sorry, Kristen, our parks aren't closed. I mean,
they're not closed, they're open, but we couldn't, they couldn't hold a practice. They couldn't,
right.
if I wanted to go down with the boys, the catch, I could go down and do that. So one of the things Lynn and I, Lynn did mention in a conversation that they do usually sometimes have a community garden opening day, that they wouldn't have that this year because that would be too many people.
Right.
So I don't know if it would fall under, back to your question, Scott, as to whether or not it's essential or not. I don't think, it's not a business. So it's sort of a community, we didn't, town commons not closed. It's still an open space.
That's the way I would kind of look at it, is if we're allowing use of conservation land, parks, et cetera, with social distancing, I mean, I think then that could apply here as well. There's also the food aspect, and there's a certain need to get things started on a timely basis as well.
Sure.
The
Well, and
DPW
there's
also
spent
sent
a lot
out a
of-
new email today for farmers markets. I know this isn't really falling under a farmer's market, but perhaps, Lynn, if you wanted to take a look at that on the mass.gov website and just kind of see the guidelines and how it would, coincide with your community garden concept.
Okay,
Yeah, and I think, I frankly, I think we should encourage this, again, no big opening day, no anything like that, but I think given current situation, this could be a critical thing for people to have, to be able to go and do, and Lynn, if you can, just confirm for us that you guys can set up some kind of scheduling so that there aren't too many people there at the same time, then I think this is going to be beneficial.
okay,
And then if I do our next meeting, Lynn, I can put this on the agenda. Maybe you can come back and just give us an update as to how the first couple weeks are going and how it's working or not working.
okay, that would be
That'd be
great.
great.
All right.
All right, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, so next on our list is face coverings, and again, we talked about this briefly earlier. So there is we are looking to require anybody that, there's no reason we can't say all town or all public buildings. What do we need to do to, and Scott, do you have any questions about this? Have you, or I assume you and Pam have talked about it?
No, we haven't. I guess, do we have public buildings that are open?
Not at this time. Again, the question was posed prior to the governor extending to the 18th. Once the 18th comes, if it is not extended, then yes, technically town buildings could reopen to the public. Town hall, Houghton Building, library, schools we know are not opening. So it would just be, it's something that as of yesterday was a topic to bring up because our next meeting would have fallen after the stay-at-home order was lifted. And that has now been extended through at least through the 18th now. So
Yeah.
maybe I can draft something and we can approve it for the next meeting, which is on the 12th. So if you're going to recommend, or they have it be that masks are to be worn in public buildings when entering. But again, the public cannot enter them now anyways.
Yeah, it's certainly until we have a vaccine, we're probably going to be under guidelines for social distancing and probably wearing masks, where there's a risk of not being able to always maintain, social distancing, like stores and restaurants and things like that.
Mm.
So it makes sense to me.
Okay. So do you think this, because my understanding is that this is something we need to act on for the town buildings. And I think we want to do, for those town folks and, the employees. So Kristen, do we need to make a motion to, again, my understanding talking to my wife today was that this is something that our board is the group that can enforce this.
Correct. The Board of Health, from my understanding, can say, we are recommending in public buildings, masks are being worn, advised in other public spaces. Again, since we have a little bit of time, we can make a motion to move forward with it, I believe. And then maybe if I draft something up, it can be approved at the next meeting, and then it would be ready to go and put on the website for the 18th, prior to the 18th, when the stay-at-home advisory order would be lifted. Presumably at that time, town buildings would open. I do not believe anything would open prior to that.
Right. But there must be even currently, there must be people going to these buildings either for maintenance of the boilers or whatever. I mean, I
There
think,
have been, I know at town hall, we have cleaners coming in.
right. So I think
No, no,
it's,
but-
it,
You know,
listen, no reason to not start it now, in my opinion. So can we, so do we need to act, do I need to make a motion and Scott and I vote on this now? All right, so I make
yes.
that we
So
require.
motion,
Is it a recommendation, a guideline, or a requirement? I guess.
I think we can require it.
Yeah,
Then why
And-
not?
a motion to require in public buildings, recommend in other public spaces going forward.
And
so we're
as you said, so
requiring it in public buildings, recommending it in other places?
like, I'm gonna guess like the transfer station, you know, if you're up there, we recommend you wear a mask while at the transfer
When you're out in
station.
public, if you're walking, if you're going into, you know, if you're going to pick up dinner at a, you know, at a restaurant, you know, the to-go, the takeout situations, we have a few restaurants in town that if you're going into a place like that, it is recommended. And again, those buildings may have their own requirements.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we require in public buildings and recommend in public spaces.
Okay.
All in
Yep.
favor? Or actually,
I
I need a second first, Scott.
second,
All in favor?
I,
All right.
So I will draft something and I will send it either for, I will have to check on how I do this, if I can email it to you guys just to approve the wording, or if I just create something and post it. But I will probably have that up prior to the next meeting. So we're not waiting for May 12th.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna run downstairs really quick. Trash hauler licenses and Swan Alpha licenses, I just assume that those are all.
Yeah, they're all the normal. That would just fall under, I would have to sign them for you guys. So I have both the swine and offal licenses from Joe Bar Farms, and I forget the other one, CO. I don't have it off the top of my head.
B&B Enterprises,
Yeah, yep.
and then there's,
It's on Long Hill, so it's the same as
Yellow Heart.
last year. So those are in the packet, those are what they would, the dates have been changed, the numbers, you know, the fees have been paid. So I would just be signing on your behalf for those two. And then the same with the trash hauler licenses. We require a check for the renewal, an address list, which I have for 4 of the 5 that we have in town. I am waiting for one more. I got one more today. Again, licenses would look the same as they have in the past. The dates would just change. My internet's going out.
okay.
So
Sorry about that.
And do you want a
As long as there's
motion, or do we just say it looks okay for you to sign?
as long as there's no changes that you would want to make to the program, then yes, I could just sign and send them out via mail or email to the correct people. I'm still, like I said, I'm still waiting for one more trash hauler license. Hopefully that comes in the next couple days, but they have until Friday. I don't know how that works if it's not in by then.
Okay,
Chris?
I'm all right with all of it.
Okay. I will sign those and just, I'll have copies. Do you guys want me to email you copies or?
Nope. Trust me to get it done. Moving on, Bolton Woods Way Communication. What is this?
Last meeting, we had Title V for 75 Bolton Woods Way that indicated the leach area was covered with brush.
Oh, that's right, yes.
And I did do a drive-by. It's tough to see behind the houses, but it does look like there's some growth over there. So we wrote a letter specifically to that homeowner, but where there's multiple systems in that area, I wanted to find out if there was a homeowners association that we could send it to. But I guess there's kind of like a group chat type email. So we're just running it by the board if we're okay with sending that letter to the group versus, it was mailed to the homeowner, but to try to get a more broader education of the folks out there that it should be kept clear of brush.
I wholeheartedly endorse that plan. I think it's only going to help them.
Correct.
Absolutely.
All right. So I think, did you get that information, Kristen?
I did not yet. I'll follow back up with, I believe Erica was the one, or
I think Jenny might have had
Jenny
it.
had it. I'll go back through the text messages or my emails, and I will.
Okay.
Will we be sending them the same type of letter, or you draft a new letter for me, Bill?
I guess we maybe draft something more general.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Like this lawn, but as you
Yeah.
go up the hill on the right, there's certainly looks like some brush growth there. And again, there was a photo enclosed in that Title V, so that was representative of what's happening over that area.
Sure. No, I think that's the more people we can make aware of that, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And it'll be interesting if ever there is an association up there. I mean, but unlikely. But
By now, probably not, right? If it hasn't happened yet.
all right. So deed restriction 241 Wattaquatic Hill Road.
Yeah, that's an FYI, Kristen, right? That's been recorded.
Yep. I don't know if
Was that a long sewer line inspection?
I believe so. Yeah. I think that's still.
It's a three bedroom deed restriction. That 241 Wattaquatic. Yeah, that's a 3-bedroom deed restriction.
Yeah, it's in the packet. It came
Yep.
from it's 3 pages, signed 30th of March, 241 Wattaquatic. So that's
I'm gonna call that done.
the letter came into us.
Yeah, basically that's a upgrade that was done quite a while ago and was never signed off, and they're pulling a building permit now. So we're kind of getting those last few pieces of information to
Gotcha.
finalize that file. Yep.
Excellent. All right, 39 Mill Pond Road.
Kristen, you can fill in blanks here, but I think that was the lot that was the office trailer that it became a model home and was being used still as an office. And Mike has issued a letter that the home itself has never received occupancy, and I guess there's a question as to whether or not it is being occupied.
Okay.
And whether or not we want to take any action or just let Mike play it out, because if we are asked to sign off for occupancy, we won't, because there are some outstanding paperwork issues on the system.
I believe there's also concern that because people still were occupying the home, that there is a possible problem with the septic.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to the person that called. We've been playing phone tag, but
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I did an inspection out there. I think the pump was active, because if it was not, sewage would either be backing up into the home or breaking out onto the ground surface, and we don't have any evidence of that happening.
Okay.
Okay, so what do we want to do here? Do we want to, should we check with Mike and see where he's at in his process?
Yeah, I mean, it would be if he wants to, pursue that a little further, that would certainly send it back to our end to as far as what we need for that to happen.
Right.
And I did make Mike aware of it as well. I'll go back through my email to see if he responded to say if he talked to the person who called in, if he's spoken to who may or may not be the homeowner. We did receive letter that home was going, I believe, was going to auction. So eventually somebody's going to be looking for occupancy on that.
Right. Well, and again, we've at least in my tenure, we've been very consistent in terms of how it happens, how it gets done, and if somebody's occupying that house without a COC or an attempt, then I think we gotta get them out.
Right.
Just in the spirit of fairness and consistency. And I mean, again, it's just frustrating for me because that whole development has been such an S show since the start. There's just, one more friggin' thing to have to deal with.
So Kristen, maybe bump that to next
want me to-
agenda and check with Mike in the meantime.
Yep.
See
I
if-
was just kind of going through my email, see if I had anything from him.
Yeah, I'm happy to give Mike a call tomorrow just to get his, kind of off the record perspective.
Okay.
I know what the hell's going on there.
All right.
Moving on to 104 Spectacle Hill Road.
That's another carryover. Again, we're a large addition, pretty much an additional house was
Oh,
built on.
right near Doug Story's house, right?
Who's that? Yeah,
Right
yeah.
near Doug Story's? Yeah.
So,
It's funny, I remember watching that being built and saying, holy shit, the addition's larger than the house.
yeah, it is. It is. So I had spoken to Mike a while back, and he said that if we didn't get any response from the owner, he would revisit that. So maybe when we're talking to him about 39 Oak Pond Road, you could also mention the fact that we really haven't had any follow up on the 104 Spectacle Hill to see if he can move forward on that, because we never signed anything for occupancy of the new space, and I'm assuming it's occupied.
All right, let me put that in my notes right now. So 39 Mill Pond. And 104 Spectacle. And am I gonna add 6 McNulty on that too, or?
No,
He's got his own issues there. I think his certified letter came back also.
It did.
So it's
and I just sent a new one out today. I changed the spelling on the homeowner name. As the way we have it was spelled differently the way Berlin had it. And since the address is Berlin, we're gonna try their property record card and send it to the homeowner with a change of the spelling of the first name.
Did you send Board of Health and Building Inspector letters?
I did not think to do that. I just did the building inspector, but I can, next time I go in the office, I can reprint the letter from that we sent them and send that one as
Right.
certified as well with the new.
Yeah. And the bottom line is if these both come back, then I think it's time to investigate having them served. I think we were just kind of waiting for things to become a little better out there as far as face-to-face interaction.
Oh, there's definitely, I drive by it, I'm like, holy, there's action on both properties. I mean,
Yep.
so.
Yep. And they owe us a Title V, so that's why we're chasing them. And Mike.
Okay, I'll send that letter out. I'll be in the office it's a quick thing that I can just run in and do. It'll be all
All
this
right.
week.
Fantastic. Okay, so 1141 Main Street, A and B, Green Hill Engineering.
Yeah, do we have that plan, Kristen, to pull up?
It should be in the packet. I believe I added it in there and I signed it today. Should be just after the trash hauler and swine offal information.
Yeah, I see it. I mean, my eyes are not that good, so this is 8.5 by 11.
It is.
I
Yeah.
know, I know.
I mean, this is,
Let me see if I can bring it up in the packet. Hang on.
We
This is
discussed
just
this
a-
at the meeting. Again, this project's gone on for many years, and the installer that finished the system wasn't the one that started it. So when we got the as-built, the pump chamber was originally proposed. Let's see what the scale is at. Originally, the pump chamber was proposed about 15 feet from. There's a drain that runs across the property that connects two wetlands, and for some reason the pump chamber was installed about 3 feet from the drain. In Title V's got a 5-foot minimum, so we either go and have the guy move the pump chamber, or he's requesting that 3 feet be respected, because it was kind of an odd series of events that brought us to this point.
So I did bring it up on the screen
Mhm.
You guys can see the signature.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the long sewer line notice. But did Green Hill email you the plan?
Yes.
Is
Hang
that-
on, let's switch over. They don't name them. 55 Hudson Bay, Drumlin, Vaughn. Ross, VOH packet. All right, hang on one second. It's in my email. That just came in today after I had created the packets.
I said, I don't know if I don't see it in our packet
No, it's right here.
from Green Hill.
Let's see. Back in here, share. Okay, well, good luck reading that.
Whoa!
Yeah, I don't know. Do we have the ability to Zoom?
I can't, I was gonna say, my screen's not working. Whoa!
That looks good. If we can just we- oh, actually, you can see the black septic tank first and pump chamber second is the proposed location, and you can see the red line is the as built. So you can see how that pump chamber slid towards the drain. Why, no one knows. And again, this installer was no longer involved and is really not communicating with the current owner. So he feels he really doesn't have any rapport at all left with the original installer. So he's asking for that offset reduction.
And so so we're talking 2 feet.
Yes.
And so that grid is a drain?
No, I don't know what that is actually. We'd have to see what that arrow points to, but you can see that existing 24-inch culvert, the dash lines adjacent.
Oh, yes, I see it. Yep.
So that's the drain in question. We'd have to shift the screen to see what that grid. I don't know what that grid pattern is. Let me see if it's on mine.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'd say. I mean, again, I don't love it, but I appreciate how effed up things can get sometimes. Assume that the pump chamber is a monolithic piece that doesn't have a seam, and I only believe it's not going to leak. Maybe we can ask to have it tested. I'm okay with it being.
I think again, being a pump chamber, the on-off liquid depth is probably below if there is a seam.
Right.
The only time you'd see a elevated liquid level, there would be an alarm situation. So in theory,
Sure.
I think the on-off operating level would be actually below the
Well, I mean, is that a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, Bill? Is that?
1,000. Yep.
Yeah, and those are typically one piece.
They can be. It can be either or.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if it. It doesn't say on the permit. Let me just see if it says any reference on the plan. It wasn't spec'd, so personally, I don't recall. The inspection was done quite a while ago, so I don't know if that's mono or not. I guess I could check with the installer.
Scott, what are your thoughts?
I guess one of the questions I have is all these jogs in the line, is that a concern at all?
It's a force main after the pump chamber up to the field. Is that line?
Oh, all the red lines?
The red lines are as built, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, from the house to the pump chamber, there's a couple of 90-degree angles.
Well, those are less than 90. And again, why that septic tank orientation changed, unknown. Again, this stuff was installed years ago, not inspected, and then again, a second installer came in and finished the system, and the engineer and I were brought out to the site, long after the installation. So the owner is obviously in a tough spot if things had to be relocated.
Yeah, so, I mean, what are you thinking, Chris? Small variances?
My feeling is that that typically this stuff is all pretty well sealed. That where you see the black box versus the red box, where it really were. You know, I'm not that concerned about losing a few feet or a couple of feet because in concept the system should work well regardless. And if it didn't, you know, say there were something catastrophic that happened, that short distance isn't going to save anything. It's not going to change the function, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you think this, I mean,
You know, it's not a drain, so it's not really receiving, you know, water. That's not its purpose. It's really a culvert connecting that high and low wetland.
right?
So, I mean, it's not a great situation, but again, it was done without our knowledge. So, you know, either the owner pays the price and has to have things relocated. You know, I'm not sure disturbing that installed system, you know, is worth that 2-foot difference.
Right. I guess I agree with that. That's my feeling. I think maybe the only thing that I would want to know, and maybe it's not that important, but functionally, I think it might be, is if that is a monolithic tank, I'd feel a lot better about it being closer, knowing that there is a much less likely chance of a leak.
Yeah, I can give the installer a call.
You know,
And we could certainly revisit it with that answer.
okay. So, yeah. So, Scott, what do you think? You want to start with that? Find out what the pump chamber is in terms of its construction, and have Bill take a look at it.
Okay. I mean, that sounds reasonable.
All right. Then that is what we shall do. Yeah, and frankly, Bill, if you see it and if anything feels even slightly marginal about it, I don't know who the installer was. You know, it sucks to say, but maybe we do kind of make him move it.
Yeah, I mean the installer that came in to finish certainly did good work. You know, we didn't see anything out of the ordinary when we did the pump and alarm test. You know, and obviously the drain location when you're standing there in the pump chamber wasn't really known. Didn't really come to light until we got this as built.
Right. Right. Okay. Very good. Then moving on, building permits, 120 Nashaway Road, Bill signed, and then 55 Hudson Road.
Yeah,
Any
55 Hudson
comments,
Road
concerns?
55 Hudson Road is an in-law, and we actually have a permit tonight. They're actually increasing the size of the system and adding a tank to handle that additional flow.
Okay, I did see that earlier. Anything of note on the permit or the plan, Bill, that
No, I think
I'm going to share it. I can share the plan. I have it up.
yeah. Yeah, why don't you? There you go. That's perfect.
There you go.
See the existing system in well, I should say shoreline and tank is kind of the lighter line that you see, and the tank again, kind of that lighter outline. You can see the proposed addition with a shoreline exiting, and that second tank being added and line tying to the existing shoreline down. Then I don't know if you can scroll a little bit, Kristen, to show the trenches.
This way?
That right there. So they're going, right now there's 3 trenches there and they're adding 2. So they're actually going from a 4-bedroom system to a 6-bedroom system. Just double check that original permit. Yeah, so the existing system was 4 bedrooms. This is now 6. When I counted up all the rooms, I come up with 14 total. So that's 7 bedrooms by definition. So even though they're increasing the size of the system to 6 bedrooms, it still requires a 6-bedroom deed restriction prior to signing. Yep.
Let's make sure they do that. Otherwise, I think that looks good. And
So that's a permit again that I'll be able to sign, assuming you and Scott approve the proposal.
so do we need to we need to vote on this?
I don't know if it needs a vote or just the okay in the minutes that I could sign the permit.
Yeah. Well, that goes out saying, Bill.
Yep.
Um,
I don't know if you or Scott have any questions.
I'm just I'm happy. I mean, again, it's a kind of just a side note. Just happy to see somebody doing this the right way.
Yep.
And will actually, so I've got, 0 issue with it whatsoever.
And no variances on this?
Nope. No variances. Nope. Just the requirement to get that 6-bedroom deed restriction. Also, they need to do a Title V inspection prior to the installation, just to make sure the system's operating properly. Obviously, if it isn't, they'd be redoing the entire system.
Right.
Do they have the deed restriction form, or do I need to send that to them?
My guess is that they're going to need it.
Okay.
I don't know if you've talked to, is his name Tim, I think?
Tim, yeah, and I haven't talked to him.
Yep.
Recently, but
Yeah. I think I put that in the viewpoint comments, so
Okay.
they know it does need to be done.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. Moving on to septic permits then. 34 Fox Run Road, a permit extension request.
That's still a carryover and will continue to be, so
Okay.
I didn't see that one.
So it's obviously not a hot topic with the owner, but at some point they do need to get us an extension request.
Sure. Then moving on, Long Hill Road, Slater's Ross Associates. So I understand Bruce is going to build himself a house.
Yeah, I think that one is on the screen. That's a good sheet right there if you want to blow that up and take a look at the kind of the house area, that existing gates that's there. It's kind of a cart road in. So this is that stretch of land before you get to Meadow Road on Long Hill. Soil's all sand and gravel, very simple septic system wise, but obviously quite a bit to do with Conservation Commission. So that I've got that standard note on the permit that Conservation Commission approval required prior to construction.
Yeah. As I say, you don't often see pond and pond so close to.
Nope.
That's incredible.
You can see though that the trenches themselves are outside of the
Yep.
100-foot buffer zone, and if you go down next to the garage there and take a look at the septic tank and pump chamber, they're 50 feet from the wetlands. So they do meet those.
There you go.
Like I say, Board of Health wise, they do meet the offsets.
Nice.
Actually, now that I look at this, it looks like I'll have to ask the well. I think our well rigs still have 100 feet from surface water. I forget if we had changed that or not. I'll have to take a look. Because if that's still on, but I think we had changed that to 25 feet. So I'll take a look at that.
Okay. I'm going to guess. I'm guessing these guys have already looked that up.
Yeah, actually, I can take a quick peek. Actually, while we have it, we might as well.
Because they have 25-foot minimum listed.
Yeah, so that must be the case. My mind, I've worked with the old regs for so long; those are the ones I always remember.
Right.
Um,
Okay. So is there? I mean, so do we need to sign this permit tonight? Or
well,
we
again, I've got a permit drafted. It does meet it does meet all of your requirements. So other than conservation's approval, I'd say it's ready for approval.
Okay. Well, should we hold that until Conscom comes through the their thumbs up, or?
You could certainly choose to do that, because if they require changes that affect our design, we would certainly want to see that.
Seems like the wise move. Let's do that.
So we'll hold action.
Yeah, just tell Neil we just need it to go
Conservation.
through, that we're as currently drawn. We're good with it, but we're gonna wait and make sure that, conservation's not gonna make any changes that would impact the design, so.
Okay, so I can alert the owner and engineer so they know where that stands. And Kristen, maybe you could just send Rebecca a note indicating that
Okay.
action tonight by the board.
Right?
Nope. Nope. Based on the revised regulations, as busy as that plan looks, it does not require any variances.
Nice. Some pretty intense grading by the looks of it, but.
It is, yeah. We, as you can see, the day we did the test holes, I mean, that slope just drops right off. But obviously, with walls and grading, it would work, at least for us.
My word. Okay, so then that brings us, so we discussed 55 Hudson Road already,
Yeah, that was, yep, correct, yep.
133 Vaughn Hill.
Yeah, that is an upgrade. Now, this, before we get into the plan itself, Kristen, you've got that floor plan shown.
Yep.
We kind of need the board to, oh, wait a second, is this 133 Vaughn Hill?
I've got in our packets, I've got a paper sketch,
Yeah, that's what they sent me.
Okay,
They
I'm
sent
sorry.
me.
like a hand sketch.
Let me see
I
if I can
think,
bring that one up.
I might have
Second.
forwarded that to you a while back, Kristen.
Yep, let's find the email. Board of Health. I have the floor plan. Are you looking for the little drawing?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a good place to start on this one.
okay. This must be the other one here then. I have it because I copied it. Let me bring it up in the packet.
All right, Pat. Sorry, Pat.
Share. Nope, nope, nope. I need more lessons on how to do screen sharing in Zoom.
It comes in nice and clear.
Oh, that's good. Let's see, where's PDF? I think I have to close some of the things I have open. There we go. Does that work?
Yeah, that's the field note, so it's probably on either side of that, the actual room sketch.
Yeah, I think next,
Oh, this one here?
That's the one. So the question here is, we do not have an existing permit that we can find on file setting a design flow. The original assessor's record has it as a 5-room total with 2 bedrooms. So the engineer had designed a 4-bedroom system. But here's the existing layout. So the board really needs to decide what they're going to respect this existing house as, because the upgrade system is within 100 feet of the well. So because it doesn't comply with Title V, it wouldn't be able to add bedrooms, if you will. So, what the board respects this house as existing is what the permit will be good for. So they've designed for 4, but if you call it a 2 or you call it a 3, that's what it's going to be considered.
So I see, so I've got, so it's obviously it's a ranch. Or no, maybe it's not a ranch. Maybe it's what do they call it? First floor, ground floor. Well, in any case, so I guess what's throwing me is that they've got a room called playroom/bedroom. So you've got 3 rooms that are clearly identified as bedrooms. And then you've got one that's kind of, it's a playroom bedroom.
Right.
I don't really feel like that this gives us enough information.
Like I said, the only other information we have is the assessor's record, which obviously isn't accurate room count wise, because I think that it is 5 total, which obviously
Right.
home has more than that. And I don't think, Kristen, I don't think the building file really showed much as far as additions go, and we can't find an existing septic permit. So there's really not much to go on other than this. This is what the house is as it stands.
And are there original house plans when it was built?
Kristen, did you look? And this has been quite a while since I may have asked that question, so I don't know the answer to
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. I'd have to check I don't know if I have the file upstairs still, I could take a look at it and we can move it to next meeting.
Can we move it to next meeting?
Department.
I'd like to move it to next meeting, just because, again, I don't want to handicap the two. If that playroom/bedroom has been used as a bedroom in the past, I guess if it has been used as a 4-bedroom house, then I don't have a problem with a 4-bedroom upgrade. If it has never been used as a 4-bedroom house, then I would argue for a 3-bedroom upgrade. So I guess I would like a little bit more, more historical data on that.
Okay.
To find out how they've used it, because I guess my point is that I don't want someone to say, "Oh, well, we're going to sell the house. Let's see if we can squeak another bedroom out of it." No, that's I don't want that. But
Not in this situation, correct?
But if it has been used that way, then I'm okay. Honoring it as what it's been used at, since we have no other data.
Yeah, but if it was designed as a 2-bedroom, including the septic.
We don't have any septic information on the existing system. So again, the 2-bedroom, the only place that number comes from is the assessor's card.
Yeah.
Right. Which is frankly not necessarily the most accurate.
Yeah, the code doesn't hold that as a design flow criteria, but it's a piece of information to consider. Along with, again, if we find any information on the building file that maybe shows that the house, if it stands as it was built way back when, versus were there any additions done over the years.
Yeah.
So is this, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be nice to see if we can find some more information and understand why it's been assessed as a 2-bedroom house.
True. That's a legitimate question. And so maybe we can work on that and have it ready for next meeting.
Okie dokie.
Fabulous. Okay, so 133 Bond Hill Road goes to the next meeting, which brings us down to inspection reports. Bill, have you had a chance to review all of these?
I have. And the only, they're all passing, and 164 Bear Hill Road has a garbage grinder, so we'll do a standard letter for that.
Okay. Yeah, that's 78 Drumlin Hill. Fox Run. Bear Hill.
So is 164 Bear Hill, is that a conditional pass then, or?
Nope. The presence of a garbage grinder doesn't change the passing status, but it is something the board historically has asked to be removed. In the report itself, it's just a question, yes or no. But you know, it's up to the board has historically asked for it to be removed and considers the report incomplete
Mhm.
and that documentation. But it's not a fair criteria.
And Kristen, do we follow up on that stuff?
The letters, when they're sent, they are asked that written documentation be provided. And then when the documentation comes in, I can just turn around and issue a, usually they want a letter if they're selling the house. So I'll just send a letter saying the documentation's been received. The board would consider this complete now.
Mhm.
Yeah, basically the letter that we send says that the board considers the report incomplete until the documentation's received. So that usually, I don't think we've ever had somebody not do what they needed to do to get the letter saying that it is complete.
Right.
All right.
Okay, that being said, so we're feeling pretty good about inspection reports?
Yeah, that was it. That's the only one that has the need for a letter. Yep.
I did not
Okay.
copy, given the fact that they all were passes, I do have emails and PDF files of all of them. So they will go into their Board of Health files, the full inspection report.
Fantastic.
So if anybody had a question on one and wanted to bring it up, I do have them on that. I can try to pull them back up on the shared screen, but since they were all passes, I just did the cover sheet.
I think that's perfect. I mean, then Bill sees the entire report.
Correct.
Yep.
And then
I feel-
his
I
office
feel-
emails them to me, and then I will print them and put them in their file.
I feel good about that. Okay, any other business, Board of Health business you guys want to talk
I
about?
do have just two quick items. I've got someone proposing a basement bathroom at 440 Still River Road. They are currently proposing a grinder pump, which I think they're going to change to a non-grinder pump. But the original septic permit indicates a 1,250-gallon septic tank. The current code says you have to have at least a 1,500-gallon septic tank to use an ejector pump.
Yep.
But the Title V inspection that was done when they purchased the home indicates a 1,500-gallon tank based on the volume pumped and based on the dimensions of the tank given in the report. So I guess the homeowner is curious as to whether or not the board will respect that 1,500 in the report to allow him to move forward with an ejector pump without upgrading his tank.
When did the system go in, Bill? Do we know?
Let's see. I'd have to run upstairs and get that file. I'm going to guess probably in the 80s, I would guess.
I think if there's a way for, I mean, in the 80s,
Yeah.
were they still using 1250s in the 80s? I mean,
Well, the town of Bolton had a local regulation. At the time, Title V said a 1,000-gallon tank was minimum.
yeah,
But Bolton required a 1250. And I know
Interesting.
I've heard from installers that 1250s were hard to find, so oftentimes it's
yeah.
15.
Yeah, I suppose if there's a way to confirm it's a 1,500, then I'm okay with it.
Okay.
It may require the homeowner to actually, expose the top of the tank or the four corners, and I don't think it's that's too onerous a task.
Well, we might be able to get further in from the person that did the Title V.
That's true. And if they pumped over 1,200 gallons,
Well, they indicated it was pumped, and they did get 15 out of it. And they do indicate its size was 5 by 5 by 10, which
Yeah.
That's usually the size of a. I mean, you're talking 200 gallons different. So the difference between a 1,000-gallon tank and a 1,500-gallon tank is pretty obvious. The 12
Right.
versus a 15, it's a little closer in size.
Right. Well, and I think too, condition, what's the condition of the tank too?
Well, based on the report, it was adequate shape. It wasn't need to be replaced or anything.
Okay. All right, yeah, let's try to chase down some confirmation on size and
All right.
go from there.
All right, and lastly, I spoke to Andy about irrigation wells at Century Mill Estates, and they are looking to install what hopefully will be the last two, which will take the remaining houses off of the public water supply. So
Nice.
that's kind of an FYI right now that's kind of in process. So we need to get plans and an application to get those moving forward. But didn't know if you had any comments or concerns.
Just want to get them out.
All right,
All right, anything else?
that's all I've got.
All right, folks. A pleasure to see you.
You too.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right, Chris. See ya.
Sounds good.
I make a motion.
Second.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
All right.